Good day, everyone, and thank you for joining us on the Business Report. I'm Denise Williams, your guide through the latest happenings in the world of business. Grace Kennedy Money Services, home of Bill Express, FX Trader, and Western Union, has announced the ongoing reopening of its locations across Jamaica following the passage of Hurricane Beryl. As electricity and internet services are restored in affected communities, Grace Kennedy Money Services says it remains committed to providing residents with vital financial services. Recognizing potential challenges in accessing physical locations, customers are being reminded of the GK1 app as a viable online alternative. To get a deeper look at the impact of a hurricane on the real estate market, we are joined by CEO of Jamaican-based global real estate investment firm, Kingston Properties. Okay, welcome, Kevin.
Thanks for having me, Denise.
Okay, great. Now, in terms of the recently passed Hurricane Beryl, the impact on your market, which is real estate, what's your views on what's happening to the real estate sector?
Yeah. It's interesting that we're doing this interview right after the hurricane, because before the hurricane, one of the things we looked at in terms of our strategy is how can we diversify some of our assets outside of the hurricane belt. So that is almost like thinking ahead. In terms of what's happening in the local sector, Jamaica is a large, even though it seems like a small island, is a fairly large country. And you've seen that in the impact of some parts of the island in terms of the impact from the hurricane. Some of us in Kingston, largely the portfolio that Kingston Property has, well, we saw minimal damage, no dislocation of our tenants, but we've seen, devastating impact in some parts of the island. What is that likely to mean for the real estate market going forward? I think there are a number of discussions I've seen that have started. I look back on, the building code or the enforcement of some of the building codes, because for some places that, where they lost roofs, etc., we have to look back on how some of those roofs are constructed and, whether they are using some of the things that are required, such as traps, just to maintain the sturdiness of the roofs during a windstorm. The other thing is drainage. How a lot of the developments that have gone up, there's a lot of concrete everywhere. And I don't know how much, green space is incorporated that will absorb, retain water in case of heavy rainfall, and where that water actually runs. So I think construction methods is something that will have to be revisited and enforced. What is that going to mean for property values? I don't know. I think the things people are going to start looking at, how buildings are constructed, and people are going to be looking at demanding, the properties that they're going to be buying are properties are going to be ones that sort of meet a certain standard where, people are more conscious about a hurricane, earthquakes, because those have been more prevalent. We haven't seen a lot of those events, in prior years, but certainly in the last 12 months, we've been seeing earthquakes and more hurricanes, and it's supposed to be a very active hurricane season. So I think people are going to be more conscious in terms of the things that they look for when they're buying a property.
All right. So Kevin Richards, CEO of Kingston Properties, he's saying this hurricane has brought a conversation about the building codes and the enforcement of the building codes, looking at construction techniques, making sure your roof has on straps. And we're looking at drainage, and we're also looking at the concrete impact on drainage. Do we have enough green spaces to absorb water, and then where does that water run off to? Thank you so much, Kevin, for giving us that snapshot.
Anytime.
All right. During trading for the period of July 10, 2024, the following companies represent the top 3 most active stocks that investors bought and sold on the Jamaica Stock Exchange. Toll road operator Trans-Jamaica Highway Limited, with 5,490,681 units, amounted to 20.07% of the market volume in terms of sales of equity. Alternative energy provider Wigton Wind Farm Limited ordinary shares, with 4,449,069 units, amounted to 16.26% of the market volume in terms of sales of equities. Gas station firm Future Energy Source Company Limited, or FESCO, ordinary shares with 3,028,915 units amounted to 11.07% of the market volume in terms of sales of equities. Over on the Twin Island Republic of Trinidad and Tobago Stock Exchange, trading on July 10, 2024, registered a volume of 79,507 shares crossing the floor of the exchange, valued at 998,393 Trinidad and Tobago dollars and 12 cents. Massey Holdings Limited was the volume leader with 26,303 shares, changing hands for a value of 103,896 Trinidad and Tobago dollars and 85 cents, followed by One Caribbean Media Limited with a volume of 21,050 shares being traded for 77,464 Trinidad and Tobago dollars. Moving from the money moves of investors, executives, and companies on the regional stock markets, we turn to the Forex market. On July 10, 2024, the Bank of Jamaica reported that US $92.3 million was bought from Forex traders, while US $77.2 million was sold to Forex traders. Buying directly from the Bank of Jamaica, foreign currency traders sold the US dollar for $157.46 and bought the US dollar for $156.33. The difference between the buy and sell rate was $1.13, which represents a profit for Forex traders for every US dollar traded. Canadian Forex traders earned a trading profit of 92 cents from transactions with the Bank of Jamaica. The Canadian dollar was sold at $114.72 and bought for $113.80. For traders looking at the British pound, they pocketed a profit of $8, selling the British pound for $201.91 and buying it for $193.91. For our credit report tip of the day, we've been looking at how your credit score is more than just a number, and we want you to use it to open doors to financial opportunities. So here are two more ways a strong credit score can help you shop around for the best loan offers at various banks in your community. Well, first, with a strong credit score, you will have better negotiation power. A strong credit score gives you leverage to negotiate better terms and conditions with multiple lenders. Second, a strong credit score will result in fewer fees. Some banks waive certain fees for applicants with high credit scores, such as origination fees or even application fees. And with that, we wrap up today's business report. I'm Denise Williams. Appreciate your company. Stay well informed, stay ahead of the curve. Until our next update, take care.